Is it going?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hi, Katie.
Hi.
This is our third session. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So, tell me, how has it been going?
It's been all right. I think it's been just like extra stressful everywhere right now, just in the world. And I've been doing okay, though. I feel like I know we made some improvements on what we're talking about, like assertiveness and stuff like that. So that I felt pretty good about that. Just doing a little bit better with that kind of stuff.
Okay, good. So, one of our goals was to be more assertive, right?
Yeah.
And then one of our second goals was to be
I think it was with my family, just
family.
like try to be less controlling.
Okay. What else did we talk about?
I think those were the biggest things. I think it's been a while. I don't know. I feel like I always forget, but I feel like those are like the two big things that I've been working on.
Assertive, family, confidence. That's definitely one.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Out of these three, which one do you feel like you still need more work on?
I mean, I think I still need to work on assertiveness. I mean, all of them still need a little bit of work, but like I just noticed, I don't know, I noticed little things about those things that I've been working on. And so,
Okay.
and I mean, I feel like as far as confidence, I feel like I have confidence in myself. Like, I just think it's just the work that I put in. And that one, I haven't been feeling great about like work, like homework and stuff that I've been putting in. But I think that's just been kind of like, I haven't been putting the effort in as much and just kind of expecting to slide by. And that's my own fault, really. So.
What's going on? Are you stressed with everything?
No, it sounds terrible, but I feel like in undergrad, I didn't, like I put work in, but I was working full time in undergrad. And so the work that I put in was not my best. It was rushed and it was like, I did it when I could. And I think now that I have so much more time on my hands, I expected to just like put out these amazing things. And I still think I put like the same amount of effort as I did when I was working full time. And I think that in grad school, obviously, more is expected of you. And so I'm still doing well, but I just like not like perfect, not like straight A plus kind of well, like I want to be doing. So I think that's just kind of like something, like I'm still doing fine, but I just, yeah.
Expectations.
Yeah.
Bringing you down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Have you been working more towards your assertiveness?
Yes, and it's really silly, but I have an example of my assertiveness the other day. So it sounds ridiculous, but for me it was big because I was in this garage or gas station, and I'm pulling out, and this guy like looks at me and like does like the kissy face, you know, and I like was like. You know, and usually, like, I try to be, like, I'm just, like, don't pay attention, just act like nothing's happening. But I was like, no, like, and I didn't even, like, try to speed off. I was just, like, gross, like, and, like, what, you know? And so I was like, yeah, that was big for me, because I don't usually, I don't know. And it sounds like I hear it. It sounds ridiculous, but it was, like, I let somebody else know of my discontent. And that was, like, big for me.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
That's a big thing.
I was proud, yeah.
That's a big moment.
And then family, I've been doing a lot better at not being so controlling.
Okay.
My mom and dad bought these concert tickets to go with my sister to a concert in San Antonio because she lives down there. And they decided they couldn't go. And my sister was trying to sell those tickets that they bought. And usually I would just try to take over and be like, I'll just sell them. Because she was like taking forever to post them online. And I told her that and she got really upset with me, like, just trust me to do it myself. And I'm like, okay. She didn't get them sold, but I backed off. And so I didn't force myself into this situation, which I kind of wish I had because they didn't get sold. But I kept out of it. So, which, you know, yeah.
That's a big step for you, too.
It was hard. It was hard because it was a lot of money, and she said she posted them, and she wasn't sure if they actually posted, and they just never sold, and so my parents are out a lot of money for it, but I think it was like I think her and I would have fought a lot if I had tried to step in. So
Do you feel okay about it still, or?
yeah, I mean, I'm glad that her and I had that discussion where I, was able to say, I'm sorry. I just don't always trust that things are going to get done in our family. And she understood because we don't have a great track history in my family of like stuff getting done. But she was really trying to make sure that that wasn't the case this time. So I feel good that she knows that I trust that in her more, but then I don't know that I genuinely trust that in her more. So I don't know. But I'm trying. So
I think that's important.
yeah.
And I think that's one of your strengths, that you try
Really.
and you're trying to let go. And that's big for some people because we always want to control. And I think that's a really big positive thing right now.
Mhm.
Do you feel like okay about it, or you kind of, does it relax you a little bit more? Because I know last time when we talked, you were like, my anxiety's out of whack and I can't handle this.
Yeah.
Do you feel a little bit more like at peace with yourself?
I think so. I think like especially with that, I wasn't trying to stress and figure out how to do all that stuff, and so it was nice to not have to think about it. So I think that that's been important for me to try to step away from that stuff and just seeing the change, just seeing like little steps was like very cathartic to me. I was just like, okay, I can actually step back if I need to. I think it's been good.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Good. I'm gonna go more into how, you remember you saying that you had your, oh my gosh, what's it called?
My interview thing.
No, not the interview. The other one.
I'm trying to think.
The Good Shepherd Clinic.
Oh yeah, yes. I did my turn at Good Shepherd.
I was gonna say, how did that go?
It was really good, actually.
Yay.
We worked together really well, and I think that was one thing, like, as not assertive as I usually feel, like, I don't know, because I know I talked about last time that I didn't feel that way, but I felt really confident in my skills and my ability, and when I was there and working with real patients. I think working with simulation patients, I just feel like they know I'm doing something wrong,
Mm-hmm.
Working with real patients, they don't know, and so I didn't feel like I was being graded. And so I just kind of was myself, and I was able to talk to the patients, and I was able to help both of them, and it was really cool. And I felt like everyone on my team worked together really well, and that helped a lot too.
That's good. Did you feel more comfortable? Because I know you said last time that you felt like your team was like pushing you and
Yeah.
you didn't know what you were doing. And
I felt like the first time we met, I felt like they just wanted me to give like references and to make phone calls and to like find, resources. I was a resource gal, And this time it still was kind of like that, but I kind of was able to, they kind of just brought a presenting problem that a social worker would deal with. And so they brought that problem to me, and then I was able to like work out what I needed to do. Instead of them suggesting what I should do, I was like, okay, what's the problem? And then I just kind of worked on it and talked to them about what my plan was. And so I think that was a lot better. I think that they were less pushy about it, and I think that I was more like hands-on, like I know what I need to do, and it's not just give resources. One of them was just resources, but I think that it was a lot more comfortable for sure. Yeah.
okay, good. Glad to hear that things went well.
Me too. Thanks.
Good. A little self-disclosure, I had with my at Good Shepherd, I did better than the simulation.
Yeah. It
And-
felt more comfortable for
Yes,
sure.
and I think it's because they're actual clients,
Yeah.
patients, and no one's watching.
Yeah. I think it's so awkward to have this video camera on you or to have people listening, and like especially with sim patients, like they've done it 3 million times, and so they know the good ways to do it, they know the bad ways, they expect what you're going to ask them, and if you don't ask them something, or if you ask them something weird, like I don't know, I definitely liked it being with real patients like a million times better.
That's awesome. So you had a good week at Good Shepherd.
I had a great time.
Good. Do you feel like your team had finally understood like what your role was?
I think they understood more, and I think that the big thing was that like I asserted myself a little bit more and was just like, this is okay, so that's my issue that I'll be working on, because they worked on all the physical health, and I just took care of what I needed to take care of, and was able to give some input with the physical stuff, but not with our patients. I wasn't really necessary for the physical stuff. There wasn't a lot of like patient like med changes or anything that I would even know about, or so. But it was really good. I was incredibly sick that week. I think last time we interviewed, I was sick,
Yes.
and I was so sick at Good Shepherd, and I was awkward because I'm there with a bunch of medical students who were just like, you can't be sick at a clinic, but they didn't say anything. Like, I tried to hide it, and then at the very end of the night, I just could not stop coughing, and I was like, hey, bye, because like I felt bad, but I wasn't like contagious. I was just still like I had to cough, and that was it. So yeah, that was tough, but it was great. It was a great experience.
I'm glad. So with all, I know in the previous sessions we've talked about not feeling like an adequate social worker.
Yeah.
Has that raised your esteem more, or?
I think, like, I have to say, like, times 1,000, because I didn't expect it to go that well. But, like, my internship is going to be at a place where I'm talking to patients all the time. And I think whenever, I don't know, like, that just helped me realize, okay, I can do that. And I'm still nervous about it, but I feel like it showed me that I have the capacity to do it. And then at work, like at my normal job, I've just been dealing with situations that are kind of more preparing me for clinical work too. And so I think that's been really helpful too.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel so much better. Yeah, I feel competent at least.
Feel confident in yourself to go. Okay. I know in previous we've talked about sessions, we've talked about how you're kind of questioning the social work role that you're in and the degree and everything. How do you feel about it now?
I think I've always known I want to, like, I love social work, and I knew I wanted to do social work. I think the thing that I've been scared about is clinical social work, specifically like counseling. Like, I just never saw myself as a counselor, or like, I don't know, I'm just like in undergrad I was super social worker. I was so excited, and then in grad school it's like you get to this specific, you're doing such clinical work, such therapeutic work, and it's so different that it freaked me out, and I didn't know, like, am I going to work with patients well that way? But I think, I don't know, seeing myself at Good Shepherd, we did more of that, and like I in my group didn't have to do like a lot of psychological or depression scales or anything like that, because the patients were in pretty good health emotionally and mentally. But I don't know, I think I feel better about social work, especially the social work that I'm going to be doing. I think that I can see the importance of it more than I did before. And I felt like I was cheating, like going into like health social work, healthcare social work, because it's not as like social worky, like, out on the streets working side by side with people. It's very like clinical, and I think that I can see the importance of it and being that voice for that person there. And so I think it's made it a lot easier.
Good. So let's talk about the future. Where do you see yourself within, let's say, 10-ish years?
Gosh, with healthcare social work, I want to be in the healthcare field, and I want to see how primary care goes. I was nervous about that because I really saw myself before more in the emergency room doing social work, some more crisis work. But I'm really excited to try it. And in the future, in 10 years, right, I'm going to do this. Remember this. I want to kind of create, I think I might have talked about this before, kind of like an outreach system where you reach out to patients and families who've been impacted by major health concerns or surgery, or just because my family went through something like that, and we didn't have any support, and so I just can see the importance of it. So I just really I know there's a need there for caretakers, and I think that it just would be crucial in helping to support that family system.
Very cool. So you don't necessarily want to do clinical, or do you want to do a little bit of clinical and then?
Yeah, I think it's weird that it sounds more administrative, but yeah, I think even doing groups, which, oh God, who would think I did not like groups when I first started, but that and still doing one-on-one with patients and with family members that needed it. And so still clinical, but then also doing some administrative, just kind of organizing and creating that outreach system.
Cool. Sounds like you know your plan
It's
and
a
what's ahead.
Good, maybe possible
Potential.
dream. Yeah. Potential, yeah.
Do you still feel like you're at the place where you're supposed to be? Because I know a couple of sessions, in the sessions, you were like questioning about why am I here? What is my purpose as a social worker? Why? Why?
Yeah. I think, I don't know, I feel like it's just a huge adjustment. I think that's what causes like some fear for me is like I'm in a not only just a non-clinical place, but kind of a place that rejects clinical things. Like Clubhouse is just incredibly non-clinical, and we're like that on purpose. We understand the importance of clinical work, but we're a place where people can escape sort of that label, the clinical label on them. And so I think switching into a clinical field, especially doing all this therapy and stuff like that, where that's really what we do, it's just, I think it was like my body rejected it at first. Like, it just like, I don't know, I just think about the people that I work with, and you get to know someone beyond their mental illness and you get to know them as a person. And I think what I learned after talking to one of my coworkers is that it's going to be very, very important for me as a social worker to maintain those values from Clubhouse, to care about who a person is as a person before I care about their diagnosis. And so I think that as long as I can remember that and continue that, I think that I'll be okay and I won't hate the type of social worker I am. But I think if I was someone that just cared about diagnosing and solving problems, like without thinking about getting to know someone, I think that would be, it would not be the type of social worker that I want to be. So I think I'm at a better understanding of that.
Perfect place.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're still working on your values as a social worker and your ethics. What do you feel like you need some more strength at?
That's a good question. We've done a lot of self-awareness this semester. Like, so much self-awareness. And I think that as much as I feel like I am self-aware, I feel like I still, experience things that I don't know. I know that I'm still not there 100%. And so I still want to work on that. And
let's do this. If you were to rate yourself from 1 to 10, where would you rate yourself?
As a social worker? Oh, that's a hard one. That's like a multifaceted.
Well, let's say just on your ethics and your professional values.
I want to say that I'm high up there. I think that I do. The reason I love social work is because of our code of ethics, because the values that we uphold, and I take them very seriously. Even though I'm not licensed yet, when people talk to me about like why I care about social justice issues so much or about whatever these things are, like my boyfriend makes fun of me because I take it very seriously, like, keeping people's privacy and respecting people's self-determination. And like, I take it very seriously because I so believe in that. So I think when it comes to our code of ethics and our values, I feel like I do well with those.
Good.
I think that I just don't know what type of social worker I am yet, as far as like what type of therapy I want to do and like how I want to work with people.
Okay. And that's understandable. I mean, self-disclosure, sometimes I feel like I have so much to learn still, and I don't know, like you've said, this semester has been so, like, a lot about self-awareness, and now it's like questioning, like, who am I going to be as a social worker in the field?
Yeah.
What are my strengths?
Yeah.
And then we talked about weaknesses.
Yeah.
And weaknesses are really hard to...
It's hard to talk about weaknesses without feeling really crappy.
Yes, and I think that's kind of what we dwell on is our weaknesses, and kind of have to move past that. And I was telling someone earlier, we don't have perfect clients. If they were perfect, then we wouldn't have jobs.
Yeah, that's true.
So I have to remember that. So maybe that's something that you need to remember too. Like, they're not going to be perfect every time. I will say, ethics is definitely one of those that gets challenged every day, are you going to be okay if they challenge him? Like your boyfriend, he probably challenges you.
Yeah, no, he challenges me, but I am a stubborn broad when it comes to that stuff. Like, it's just, I don't know, I feel like that's the core of who I am as a person. Like, I think that the biggest ethical dilemmas that I'd run into would be if my supervisor or something was not an ethical person, you know, because I think sometimes with people in authority, like I have a hard time. I just want to think that they're going to do the right thing. And so I think I'd have a harder time dealing with their ethical issues and wanting to tell somebody. Like, it would be hard for me to tell someone, as opposed to like my own decision making, if that makes sense.
No, that's understandable. It's understandable.
Like, an example at work, as this all happened very recently, but one of my coworkers, I had a lot of trouble with her. I feel like she's not ethical at all. She's not a social worker. She has a counseling license or a counseling degree, not a license. And she just, the way that she works with the people that we work with and how she treats them and the things that she says and things that she does are just against, first of all, the social work code of ethics, but she's not a social worker, but also against kind of like the standards that the clubhouse holds itself to. And she does things that are not necessarily against those things, but are just kind of immoral and just kind of like, I don't know, just shows that she's not like this great person. But I've had issues with her since I started there over a year ago when I was a student. And as a student, I didn't feel like I could say anything about her. And, you know, recently it's just been getting worse and worse. And I finally, she was putting somebody else's job at risk, talking to members about this person, just really badly about them, saying like things that made members turn against this other staff. And they were writing grievances against that other staff. And when I heard that, I knew that she'd been talking to members. And I went to the director and I told her like all these things that I'd experienced with this staff person, that she had no idea. And she asked me to send her a long email, and I sent her this huge email of just every grievance. And I am passionate about like our code of ethics and about like clubhouse standards. So I just like, it was weird, the detail that I remembered. Like, I remembered things so specifically that she did incorrectly or wrong that and I sent it to her, and I felt like that was a huge thing for me because I finally spoke up about it when I probably should have spoken up about it a long time ago, but I let myself do that, you know.
No, but that's a big step for you too. That's also being very assertive and having confidence and following that code of ethics as a social worker, and that's big. You know, some people don't necessarily do that either. They'd rather keep their mouth shut because it's not their problem. Yeah. Right? Instead of standing up for love. I'm very proud of you for that.
Well, thank you. Thanks. I appreciate it. It's uncomfortable.
How are you doing with everything? With school, work? I know our last session you were pretty stressed.
Yeah. Especially that was a very stressful week, especially. I'm doing better. I think we have a lot more stuff to do the next couple weeks, and so that's freaking me out a little bit. But I've been actually working on it a little bit at a time for once, so that's been really helpful. And I think that I took some time for myself a little while ago, and I think that really helped my mental health, and I'm like a little bit more organized again.
So. That's good, because I know we've talked about self-care. That's one of the things we've talked about too. Yeah. I wrote this down. Is self-care.
Yeah. Self-care is big for me.
Are you slowly working on it more? Or?
Yeah. I mean, the big thing that I've done since undergrad was working out consistently. Mm-hmm. When I got sick, I couldn't work out. I just couldn't breathe well enough to work out. And so that was really hard for me because I couldn't do my typical self-care. But I'm doing that again, so that's good. And I also, this doesn't sound so cheesy, but I sing. I like to sing. And so I've been just singing more. And I used to do these little show things, and I've downloaded some more instrumentals so that I can talk to my old music teacher about just doing little random things. Because it's just it's very cathartic to me. It's like this huge emotional release. And I realized like working out is amazing and I will continue to do it, but I think I was missing something, because that was really, music was very important to me when I was younger, and I kind of let it go. And so I'm excited to kind of dig that back up.
That's good. So it sounds
Yeah.
like you're picking up another hobby
Yeah.
and taking care of yourself mentally, not
Yes.
physically this time, which is good.
Yeah, and I feel like we talked about that last time, how I take care of my physical body, but I haven't. You talked about meditation and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I thought about that whenever my boyfriend makes fun of me because I download all these instrumentals, I practice them. And he's just like, and I was just like, you don't understand like, I didn't realize how much of myself I wasn't taking care of until now. And this was last night that I had this conversation, by the way. So it's just like, yeah, I realized this huge gap in my self-care, and I think that it's going to be really helpful.
Do you think you'll carry on with your self-care as much as possible?
I know that I just don't feel like physically I'll have a choice. Like, when I don't work out, I'm a crabby person. I'm a grump. Like, I cannot handle things, and I am moody, and so I know that's important for me. I think keeping up on doing music and stuff like that, it'll be harder just because, realistic limitations. But I wouldn't want to I don't want to do a bunch of stuff like go to karaoke or something like that. Like, would be fine. But, I don't like to go out a whole lot, so I'll just have to do it at home. Make myself do it at home. Sing to my dogs.
Hey, whatever works for you.
I give them treats and they're fine. They just sit there.
And they just listen to you.
They like run in the other room and like watch Animal Planet. But
That's funny. Well, it sounds like you're taking very good care of yourself and you're like kind of at peace. Is that what I hear you saying?
I feel a lot more at peace, yeah.
Okay. Now, let's say from within a year now, are you still going to try to be at peace? And
Yeah. There's a lot of changes coming, so I think it'll just be maintenance of this and finding new ways to do it and fitting it in, because we're going to graduate and who knows what's going to happen, where we're going to be. I'll be moving to a different house, and I don't know if that'll be in Oklahoma City or in Norman, so then I'll have to find a new gym. And so there's just like things I'm thinking about, but I mean, I'll just have to be dedicated to keeping
you
up
said
with
you're
it.
a fan of to-do lists, right?
I love to do that. Girl.
Why don't we start to-do lists? Even
Yeah.
though it may seem silly, like how far is graduation? 6 months?
That's not far at all. Oh, God.
6 months? Maybe a to-do list. You said you love writing everything down. Maybe that'll help you
Yeah.
to know what you need to get done
Yeah.
before graduation. You're the one that likes to keep a list for every classroom, right? Every class.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe having a to-do list that sits just up on your fridge
Yeah. That would be smart.
and try to accomplish 1 or 2 things, maybe a week or a month.
Yeah.
That way seems like it's overbearing you with graduation and practicum. You have practicum next semester, so it's not overbearing with your life.
Yeah. I need to start working on that stuff. Yeah. Especially practicum. They gave me a whole list of things I have to get done for practicum, like blood tests and stuff like that. Like,
Where did you get placed?
at OU Physicians.
Oh!
So, because it's in like healthcare, I have to get like a blood or like a urine drug test, and I have to get a background check, and I have to get all these immunizations and TB tests and stuff like that. And so it's just, I don't even know where to get that stuff at. And so I have to email some people and figure it out.
I was going to say, you probably should email Terry.
Yeah. Oh, Terry, yeah.
Terry would be a good
I
one.
was thinking about Levi. I'm like, I don't know if Levi. Yeah, Terry.
Or,
would be perfect.
not Levi. Dr. Riley.
Yeah.
Or probably Terry Fritz. No.
I'm gonna bug her. Yeah, I am going to.
I'm pretty sure Dr. Riley could help you out in Terry Fritz.
Yeah, I think I'll probably email Fritz.
Cool. I'm so excited for your practicum.
Thank you. Yeah, I visited it and it's humongous. It's huge. Like mine, I don't know if the other girls at OU, because OU Physicians, there are a couple different locations, and I'm at OU Medical Center.
In downtown.
Mhm.
Cool.
It's really cool, but it's like this one building with 5 clinics in it, and the social workers deal with all 5 clinics. Like one's in urgent care, and one deals with geriatric patients, and but each one does different things. But it's just like, I think when I thought primary care, I thought like a little office, you know, and this has like 5 big offices, so it's different.
Nervous about it, or do you feel?
I'm nervous because I think there's gonna be a lot more depression screenings and stuff like that, and I haven't done a depression screening yet. But I'm excited.
It all sounds like it's a lot of new things are happening in your life.
So many new things.
So many new things. Out of these things, out of all of our lists, it sounds like you're definitely making progress. How do you feel like about this list? How do you feel about the lists?
I feel good about it. I think I like it. I think that there's things that like I don't know, it reminds me of things that I need to work on. Like whenever I see it, I feel like I've made little steps in each one. But sometimes I forget that I need to work on my confidence, or sometimes I forget that like to be assertive, I'll just like go back into my old way of just, and so I think it's accurate. And I think it's a work in progress.
I feel like you've grown.
I think so. I want to say thank you for saying that. Because I really do. I feel like the last couple of weeks have been weird, and
I feel like you've grown so much. Like you've been more assertive at work, and then you feel more confident about Epic. That's what it's called. You feel more confident about Epic and where your role is in Epic. And then your confidence, like as your social worker in Epic, and like about, you know, your placement and everything. It just seems like everything's just fallen kind of like into place.
Yeah.
You know, because I know that was one of your fear, like, what is my role here? I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I feel like I don't belong here. And now it sounds like everything's kind of like shifted.
Yeah.
You kind of know what you're doing. So I know in the previous sessions we talked about, you're like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing with this. And it sounds like you really know what you're doing.
Yeah. I think especially with Epic, being around medical professionals is kind of intimidating. Just because, you know, they're like, oh, I've got 8 years of school, you know, like, and I'm just like, okay, doc, you know, calm down. But it's like, I'm intimidated, and I think that realizing that I have like a legitimate place and I was a benefit to the team was like, that was pretty cool.
That's awesome. So maybe now with your practicum coming up and being with doctors and again medical professions, you know, it sounds like you know your role with your team at Epic, and probably maybe that can happen again while you're at your internship.
I think so. I think at my internship there's like, it's gonna force me to be comfortable with it, because you like go talk to a patient and then you go talk to the doctor about a plan for the patient. So it's like I will be working directly with the physicians, and then what are they called whenever they're not doctors yet, they're doing their residents. Yes. So their residents are based out of there too. Like there's a bunch of residents at that hospital or at that facility, and so I'll be working with a lot of residents too. So
very neat.
Yeah, it's I'm ready. I'm gonna have to put my confident boots on, be like, hey, you know, this is what I think.
I think you're doing great.
Oops, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I think you're doing great. I think you've made a lot of progress. Even if it's just little, that's still progress.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of your strengths, is you're trying. That's a big thing, because some people, you know, when something doesn't go their way, they would quit.
Yeah.
You know, and you didn't. You kind of was like, I'm going to make something happen. And you did.
Well, thank you.
Which is really good. Self-care, I think you're doing great in it as well too. You know, it's growing, and you've realized it, like, oh yeah, like I need to make a change in my self-care, and you did, and you made a little minor change, you know, and I think that's great. There's nothing wrong with it. Everyone has to do what everyone's different, everyone's unique, so we all have to do what is best for us. So your family, you're still working on it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think you've made a little bit of progress with them too, not be so controlling. So that's all you can ask for, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like your relationships are doing okay with your family? And
I think they're doing really well. I don't know, I'm a little bit bummed out my sister didn't get those tickets sold, but I think she tried to the best that she felt she could, and so I need to just drop it. And I think with my other sister, she's calling me constantly right now. She decided to get a divorce from her husband. And I know I talked to you last time about how I just thought he's just for the worst, and which is none of my business. But she decided on her own to get a divorce, and she's been, texting me for like, support and like how do I like talk to people and how do I tell people I'm getting a divorce and stuff like that. And so um, that's been great. We've gotten a lot closer because I think that I was a little bit bitter towards her and she was a little bit bitter towards me about her marriage, and for just reasons, her things that her husband had done. And um, I think it opened, like, her making that decision opened up the relationship to a lot more.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad, because I know you were
Yes.
struggling with some relationships with your family. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that that's definitely a little better.
Yeah.
I can see yourself being more of a support rather than controlling them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I feel like you're kind of switching your roles in your family, become more of a support than controlling them and trying to tell them what to do. What about your mom and your dad?
They're doing good. The fact they decided not to go to this concert for kind of like silly reasons, and just, and I normally I'd be like, really, guys, like, that's not even like a legitimate, because they always back out of stuff. But I just, I don't know, I just let them do their thing. And but I'm extremely close to my mom and dad, so I love getting to visit them. And my dad, he never hears about like the family gossip or whatever's going on in our family. Like, no one tells him because he's like a grumpy old man. And so whenever I come into town, he always is like, "So what's going on?" Like, and so he and I chat, and he gets caught up on the family business, and so it's always fun. And I got to see them this weekend, so it was a lot. It was good. It was really good
That's
for me.
good. That's good. It sounds like just your family is just doing well.
Yeah.
And you're doing well.
Yeah.
So I feel like your relationships are not as rigid. I feel
Yeah.
like they're pretty stable right now, which is good. That's good. It sounds like overall your well-being is doing really well,
Yeah.
which is good. Your well-being is just seems like your all around self is like doing very, very well. Like your mental, your physical, your work, and then your school is like all meshing together nicely,
Yeah.
which is always a positive. Like I've said, these 3 sessions, I feel like you've grown just higher and higher. How do you feel like with these sessions? How did you take them, and what do you think about these sessions?
I was really nervous about them, and because I didn't know what I would possibly talk about for this long, but I think it's been really good. I think it's like a lot of time to, like, when you can say it out loud, I feel like you reflect on it so much more. So I think having someone like just hear these things and like give me ideas of what I was saying, I don't know, I just think that was really helpful.
Good.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you'll take what you've learned from our sessions later on. How would you rate the sessions?
Like, what do you mean? Like on a scale?
On a scale, yeah, from a scale from 1 to 10, how would you
I
rate
think
it?
it went really well. I think I thought it went really well.
Mhm.
You let me talk about whatever. I mean, I know I'm a talker, so you let me talk about what I wanted to talk about, and reflected on it. And so,
Good.
yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Good. Well, thank you for coming, and thank you for sharing everything with me. It's been a pleasure to work with you. So I hope that these sessions you carry on for the future and to self-reflect and everything. And good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck with everything.
I appreciate it.
All right.
So cool.